where it'll eventually will show up and say, hey, you want to go live? Yes, YouTube, I want to go live. Thank you very much, youtube.com. Hey guys, welcome back to Talking the Orville on Egotastic FunTime. Curtis Tate, official channel member. I'm talking to you because I see your name right there. I think the strike puts the end to the Orville. I do not think that, but I can see how other people would think that. During the strike, I've had communications where I felt good about the tones I was hearing when it comes to getting more Orville one of these days. So I do not think the strike puts an end to the Orville. Don't worry about that stuff. But that is the business side of Hollywood, and they're going to get that straightened out eventually. Will it take a few weeks? Will it take a few months? You never know. It all depends on how much money these studio execs want to make, because that's what it comes down to. The studio execs want to keep making that money that they've been making, this special pot of gold that they found when it comes to streaming. Oh, we don't have to tell people how much we make. We can brush a little bit off onto the side into our own bank accounts, and not pay any money to the actors or the writers or anything. That's what's going on in Hollywood right now. Be not worried about it affecting the Orville when it comes to the Orville coming back. But it's definitely, like all shows right now, are not going to be coming back when we want it to, because we're ready now. We were ready last month, the month before that, the month before that. We've been ready ever since season 3 ended almost a year ago. Not quite. Still got a couple weeks left before we get to that 1-year anniversary. It's just going to delay things, the strikes. And hopefully the writers and the actors, the talent, get their fair share of all the entertainment that they provide us, so that we stick around on this planet a little bit longer and not get so bored. What did we do before there was non-stop entertainment? Life is just non-stop entertainment. Wherever you go, something is on. In your pocket, something is ready to be played. TV shows, movies, video games, eating and drinking. That seems to be all life is right now. Kind of sad if you think about it. You know, we don't go outside and throw the frisbee around as much as we used to. But hey, these are talented people making things that we love, that make us excited for another thing. So I hope they get paid, you guys. But I would not worry about the strike having anything to do with the Orville ending or not coming back. It's just all delays is all it is. Seth MacFarlane wants more Orville. And to me, that means there will be more Orville. Some way, somehow. I don't know if it's going to be Disney. Don't know if it's going to be Peacock. Don't know if it's going to be some new thing that Seth MacFarlane comes up with. But the dude is powerful. The dude loves this IP of the Orville. He loves the fans. He loves the product. He wants to push that product. And if he wants to get it together, which he does want to get it together, he'll get it together. So I would not worry about that at all. This is his baby. Archmage Frey, I used to read the back of the toothpaste tube in the bathroom before entertainment. Yeah, I didn't read the toothpaste tube, but I did read like the shampoo bottles. And what else was in a bathroom at that time? Shampoo bottles. Body soap. You go far enough, there was no body soap. There was just bars of soap. But they didn't have anything written on it except for maybe Dove or Ivory or whatever other brands was out there. Lava? No, I don't think we bathed with lava. Ari, Avril, Season 4ville, make it happen, Seth. Yes, Seth, we love you so much. We love the Orville so much. We are the core fandom right here. So if you're watching this right now, which you might, if you're not picketing right now, if you're taking a break and looking for something to do because you can't do acting or anything right now, you can't produce anything right now. So maybe you're here listening to us talk about your show, The Orville. Oh, Ari says my beard's looking good. Thank you. I trimmed my beard. I had a little bit of of a hillbilly thing going on. And I was thinking, I don't have the skills to have a beard like this. I'm not a Jedi master. I don't know how to do things with my hands as far as building goes. I can do other things with my hands. What's up? Uh, but so I'm like, let's trim this thing up. Let's get a little bit. Let's clean up this dumb face of mine. But thank you very much, Ari. Don Ranger Power. Go Don Ranger Power. Whoa. Hello, JP and all. Hope everything is well. Yes, I did update my profile pic in anticipation of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury and decided to keep my surname private. That's right, Don. Yeah, Power Rangers are always swooping back in. There's always some little side Power Rangers thing going. At least it feels that way. The last couple of years, it feels like there's been some movement in the Power Ranger universe, making little movies, little side things. I don't keep track of any of it, but I do see a lot of Power Ranger stuff going on, and I'm not against it. I'm for it. Make your things. People like Power Rangers. Make some things for those people that like Power Rangers. Maybe I'll make some Power Rangers things one day. Maybe I could be the voice of, what is it, Zordon. Ari says hi to Don. Archmage says hi to Ari. Maxine, what's going on? I probably missed everything. Is Orville finally being renewed? I believe the Orville, and I've believed it a long time, and I believe it even more now than I did earlier, that I believe the Orville will get renewed. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means season 4 or movies or what. I'm hoping it's season 4 because I know there's already a couple episodes. One episode's completely written, Sympathy for the Devil, but I hear rumors, take them with a grain of salt, that Seth MacFarlane has been jotting down some either scripts or some ideas for episodes in a 4th season. But the news that we just got, it was just a day or two ago from Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes is Rotten Tomatoes. I don't trust almost any entertainment news unless it's maybe Variety.com or Deadline.com. Everything else is pretty much just people putting words on pages and a lot of copy and pasting. Rotten Tomatoes came out with an article the other day telling us the shows that were renewed and the shows that were canceled for 2023. First off, let me say, there will be no new Orville in 2023. I don't care what anybody says. There's not a lot of 2023 left, and it takes a long time to make something of the quality that the Orville is. Season 3 was crazy quality. And yeah, I know they're going to be going for that type of quality for a 4th season or for a movie or a couple of movies. I always say a couple movies because I know they've said a couple movies years ago. You got to take Rotten Tomato or any entertainment news with a grain of salt. There's just people writing stuff. People like you and me. They're just writing stuff and sending it in. Okay? Rotten Tomato says that the Orville is renewed. But we Orvillians pressed the writer of that article and said, can you clarify what does all of this mean in the article? And they said that they haven't gotten any news that the Orville is renewed, but they have not gotten any news that the Orville is canceled. So they just kept it in the renewed classification. But it's not official. Until we hear from Seth or from Tom Constantino or someone from the cast, it will probably be either Seth or Tom or both. Maybe they'll include me. They've done that before where they'll say, hey, why don't you promote this thing that we're doing with us? Great honor to be able to be a part of the Orville when it comes to advertising and promoting the Orville. Makes me feel like I'm part of the team. Until one of us three say something about it officially being renewed, it is not officially renewed. But I can tell you, pretty sure we're going to be getting some more Orville. I just don't know what it's going to be. I hope it's a 4th season. I know they got episodes, like I said. Mark Lawrence, thank you so much for that super chat. Hi, JP. Hi, everyone. Thank you for helping to keep the lights on. Clyden had to chime in. Clyden's on a loop again. That happened last time. Let me put on the mute button on my speakers. But thank you for helping keep the lights on. I am back. We're going full Orville again, because I really feel that the Orville's coming back, but I think it's going to be at least a year or two before we get a new season of the Orville. But it's going to be my job, this channel's job, and our job as the core fandom of this universe to keep the excitement going, to keep the hype going, to keep people that have not yet watched the Orville, introduce them to the Orville. I see it every day. It is so exciting. There has not been a day in the last year or so where I haven't seen somebody that just discovered the Orville and they want to talk about it. So exciting. So it's our job just to keep people watching, get them excited, so that when the Orville eventually does come back, fingers crossed, wink, wink, because I believe it's coming back, that it has so many fans that it'll be undeniable. And the Orville already does have millions and millions of fans all over the world. But we're starting to see how these studios are kind of greedy, right? They want everything that they put out to be the biggest thing, making the most amount of money. And if it doesn't, they cancel it, they get rid of it, and they go on to another thing to try to make $1 billion. The Orville did very well for season 3 on Disney, on Hulu, but I don't think at the time the original numbers weren't like the biggest thing in the world. It wasn't like a dragon show. Dragon shows are always going to get the biggest audience, right? But the show did very well, and it's even doing better now. As of today, the Orville is still, it has been number 8 of most requested shows on Hulu for the last 8 days straight. And all the days before that, for the last year, it's been, number 8 and before. Number 8, number 5, number 2. I didn't start keeping track of it. Maybe it was number 1 at some point, probably towards the beginning. That, I don't know. I didn't look at the time. But the Orville's been doing very, very well. And we are here to talk about it, to celebrate it, and to see whatever else comes up in our minds. Like, for instance, the strike. We got the writers on strike. We have actors on strike. And they are both saying these studios, these streamers, the big issue is with the streamers. Because the streaming services came along and they changed all the rules. But these contracts for writers and actors, they're part of a contract that came out decades ago. And now the whole game, the whole how to make a TV show, how to make a movie has changed thanks to streaming. And the work that they're doing does not reflect what they're getting paid, does not reflect what they're supposed to get paid in their contracts that were written back when, there was just network TV, a little bit of cable TV. They didn't have all these streamers. So now people are watching a show millions of times altogether, and there's no residuals at all. Whereas if they were watching reruns of a TV show on network or cable, the actors are getting a little piece from all the different reruns, as we used to call them, before it was called binge watching. They're not getting paid anything. And all shows, as you've noticed, and a lot of you have complained about, most shows, the entire season is 6-10 episodes, whereas they used to be minimum 22 episodes back in the day, sometimes up to 28-30 episodes. So these actors, these writers, they were getting work almost throughout the entire year. Now they're only getting a few weeks of work per show. And, these actors, these writers, they can't work on enough shows, because that's just too many shows, to fill out the entire year with work. So a lot of these actors, faces that you recognize, they're not living the lives that you think they are. They're doing well for the few weeks or a couple months that they're working, and then the rest of the year it's a complete struggle to pay the rent, to put food on the table. It's crazy. It didn't used to be that way. And so they're sick of it. And they're like, hey, you execs are giving yourselves millions upon millions of dollars of bonuses. How about you spread some of that, just 2% of that, around to the actors and to the writers? That's all it would take, is 2% of what execs make would cover everything, and everybody would be happy. But I guess 2% is too much. If you get a lot of money, you want to have all the money. We know how it is, you guys. Kylie Pratt, how are you? Early good morning from Queensland, Australia. Glad to have you with us, Kylie. Leapshin, why the hell is JP utterly obsessed with films? Films, this films, that films, the next thing. Films kill television franchises. Well, not for me. Most films are on television. These streamers, I usually just watch movies that come to streaming. Especially Peacock. Peacock had a ton of movies that I liked this year. Peacock had Cocaine Bear. They had Renfield. Oh, if you have not seen Renfield, I highly recommend Renfield. It's fun, it's funny, it's got some great topics that it's tackling, but it's also the most violent thing I've ever seen. And I've seen some violent films in my days. Renfield is the most violent movie I've ever seen, but in a fun way. In a fun way, you guys. Fun blood, fun murder. Don't let the kids see it. What's up, Brian Dawkins? How you doing? Ari says, I'm up for shows or movies. I just want more Orville in any format. Yes, I agree. Hell, I'll take graphic novels even. I hope they do more graphic novels. David A. Goodman, executive producer and writer for the Orville, wrote all of the graphic novels for the Orville. How many were there? I can't even remember. 8? Maybe 8? Right now they have the library edition volume 1 out, which I think is probably the first 4 comics in a nice big oversized hardbound book. Since it's part 1, I assume part 2 is coming out. Would love more of the graphic novels, you guys, for the Orville, because they are canon. Well, they're considered soft canon, meaning that everything in them is canon unless the actual live action show contradicts anything, but they're not going to do that. I liked Cocaine Bear. It was way more of a regular movie than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be some horrible piece of crap movie. But Cocaine Bear was fun. And it was like just a regular fun movie. Yeah, Bob Mathis Friedman says, I loved Renfield. I might actually watch that again. Yes, Archimage, I highly recommend Renfield. And there's a couple other movies on Peacock that I enjoyed that are new movies. Oh, Champions. The one where Woody Harrelson is a guy that's forced to become a coach to some mentally challenged kids. Ended up being a really fun, great movie. I believe the Mario movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie that just came out in the theater, will be coming to Peacock. I believe it's Peacock. The 1st of August, something like that, just in a couple weeks. So I'll be hitting that as well. And you know, some of the other streamers have some newer movies that come out as well. But so far, I've been getting pretty lucky with Peacock. There's always something for me to watch on Peacock, but that's my taste. Everyone's got different tastes. Some people enjoy that Netflix, whatever it's on there. Netflix, I guess, does have a couple movies I want to see. I want to see 65 with Kylo Ren. That looks like a good movie. And they also have Bird Box Barcelona. There's a new Bird Box movie. I enjoyed the Sandra Bullock Bird Box movie a couple years ago. Well, they just came out with another one. See what's going on in Barcelona when the Bird Box monsters show up. Did we ever figure out what they were? I don't know. Yeah, Champions. That was a good movie. JT Shark says, unable to get Peacock here in the UK. Well, hopefully that changes, because they do have some really great content on there for me, the stuff that I like. A lot of the stuff that I watch on Peacock used to be on Hulu. I've always loved Hulu, but Hulu has less and less stuff that I want to watch, but there's probably tons of stuff on there other people want to watch. I never consider my my opinions to be the same as other people's opinions, because I just got to this point in my life the last couple of years where I hardly want to watch anything anymore. But what else is there to do? But hopefully Peacock comes to you guys, or that content comes onto some other platform, which happens a lot. Netflix, I believe on Netflix, I just saw that they have one of the Star Trek movies. I think it's the JJ movies, one of the JJ Abrams movies. Not all Star Trek is on Peacock. And some Star Trek isn't even, not Peacock, Paramount and some Star Trek isn't even on Paramount. So what's Paramount talking about when they say Star Trek is all in one place? That I have never seen to be true every time I've looked onto Paramount to see if all the Star Trek's there. Sorry if I switch Peacock and Paramount around. They got P's. They both start with P. Jaloja, if you will. So I get mixed up. But hopefully you'll know when I'm talking about Peacock and when I'm talking about Paramount. I just got done right before this stream watching the latest episode of Strange New Worlds that came out today on Paramount. I'm very excited for Strange New Worlds Season 2 to finish so I can cancel Paramount. There's nothing else on there that I want to watch. Paramount. Though Paramount does have a good movie on it. That new Dungeons and Dragons movie with Captain Kirk. What's his name? You know his name. Chris Pine. That was a pretty fun movie as well. Matthew Longstaff, new Quantum Leap just arrived in the UK via Paramount. Well, there you go. I watched the 2 episodes of Quantum Leap, enjoyed it. I wasn't looking forward to the next episode because it was a boxing episode. Oh, hold on 1 second, you guys. Yes? Did you need something? I thought I heard a knock. I guess not. Quantum Leap. I wasn't interested in the boxing episode, so I didn't continue on. But I hear good things about Quantum Leap. So at some point, when I feel like binging something, I guess I gotta watch Quantum Leap because I'm a huge fan of the original Scott Bakula Quantum Leap. You guys know this. Just this guy. Peacock is owned by Universal, yes, / Comcast. And the name is based on the mascot for the NBC TV network. Yes, the Peacock, the NBC Peacock, you guys. I remember listening to a interview, a year or 2 ago, I want to say maybe 2 years, with Seth MacFarlane. I can't remember what chat show he was on, but the host made a joke about Peacock being called Peacock, and Seth made a joke about, yeah, I didn't get hired by NBC in time to help them come up with a better name. Because you can't do anything. It's either P or it's cock. Either way, you're screwed, right? No pun intended. Ari hasn't tried the new Quantum Leap. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. Enough. I really didn't care for, I just, there's the Leaper going through what they're going through. And then there's the scientists over in the project side of things, running the whole project. Too much story. I just want to see what's going on with the Leaper. I don't care what's going on at the laboratory, but that's just me. Everyone's different. I'll have to keep watching and see. Yeah, Justice Guy says D&D was cute. Yeah, it was. It was all it needed to be. And while watching it, I'm like, I'm really enjoying this, and I hope they don't make another one. So I'm so tired of these movies being made where it's like, oh, we're gonna make 5 of these suckers. Talking to you, James Cameron. Wait and see if people like the last one before you plan the next one. Matthew says, stay with Quantum Leap. I will. I enjoyed it enough to where I'm like, okay. I just didn't really care for the boxing match preview. But that's me. I bet you the episode's better than the preview. Dr. Scott Giles, man, I didn't even know there was a new Quantum Leap. I hope it isn't a soulless cash grab. I can't speak on it as of yet. I do know people have spoken highly of it. I believe the podcast enjoyed it. I think probably at this point the entire season has been out, and it's ready for you to binge the whole thing, and you can decide and you can tell us. Brian Dawkins, I like the launch day comic where Ed and Kelly stiff the woman for the price of a meal, then couldn't pay her because the planet went away. Oh yes, launch day. That's the one where they had to go undercover as these kind of fishy looking people. So you have Ed and Kelly. They look like kind of like marines, people that evolved from a marine type being at some point. But anyway, it's funny. They're blue. Not Retepsian blue, but they're blue. They linking to the original Leap is just too random. Yeah, I'll have to see. I only watched the 2 episodes. I think they explained something. I have to start from the beginning because I can't remember. But I believe they explained something that was unanswered from the original Quantum Leap, because this takes place in the same universe. These are new leapers trying to follow in the steps of Sam Beckett, which I'm glad they did that, as opposed to trying to just do a whole new universe of Quantum Leap. It actually, is a follow up. I have no idea. You guys can talk. Those who have seen it will know more than I do. One thing I like about concentrating on the Orville, and it took a while for me to realize this. I'm like, because I used to think, oh, I'm going to cover different sci-fi stuff or different shows, and then nothing really seemed worth it. But for a long time, I was watching shows thinking, oh, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to do an episode about this, which made it harder to enjoy shows because they became work. The Orville is the only show I can watch that's still work, but is still fun to watch and fun to think about. I'm actually still surprised after all this time, all my Orville videos and conversations that we've had, that my enthusiasm for the show and the universe has not waned at all. It actually improved. It gets stronger every single day, just by a little bit. I mean, that sounds corny, but it's true. I just don't find a lot of shows make me think very much. They're all kind of mindless, even the ones that are kind of smart. Even the new Star Trek, every once in a while, they'll do some, kind of smart brain stuff, but it doesn't keep me going. The episode doesn't end, and I'm still thinking about the situation, even if I enjoyed it, which I'm mostly enjoying. Strange New Worlds was a lot of fun. Season 3 of Picard was great. Lower Decks is fun, but that's supposed to be mindless. It's just a fun cartoon, which does have smart brain concepts in it, which is neat. But the Orville are the stories and the characters and the situations that I still think about, even now. Am I sick? Am I crazy? The comic heroes gives Tal the story she never got. Yeah, one of the Orville comics was called Heroes, and it's a Tala story, and she goes to a planet of, I guess you call them cousins, kind of like Vulcans and Romulans are kind of related if you go far back enough. She goes to a planet of these people. They're not advanced people. They're, well, more than Bronze Age, but they're very simple people on this planet. But they look like Selaeans, exactly like Selaeans, but they do not have the super strength because the gravity on their planet is normal, so they don't have super heavy gravity superpowers like Superman does. They're not powered by the sun. Very interesting. So she has to kind of blend in, find out what's going on, and she decides to help them with a situation that's happening to them it's out of their control. And so she decides to stay back against the union's orders for her to not do this. And she decides to go do it anyway. And she becomes like a hero. It's pretty cool. Justice Guy says, sorry, mistyped. Since I have Paramount for Strange New Worlds, I am binging Scott Bakula in Enterprise. That's a good show to watch if you're gonna watch some Star Trek. Enterprise is a good one. It actually much better than I gave it credit for when it aired. Same. I now absolutely adore Enterprise. It was okay when it came out. I was still having a hard time. A lot of people were having a hard time. This is very different from the Star Trek that we were used to. And but I enjoyed it. And then by the 4th season, I was like, damn, I love this show. And then it got canceled because What's His Nuts is a jerk. Another studio exec trying to make that money. And but you go back and watch it. If you saw the original airing, you think whatever you think about it, go back and watch it. I'm kind of bored with the first 2 episodes of season 1, but once they get into space and they're doing their thing, such an enjoyable show and some of the best Star Trek ever written. That whole clone trip episode is such a damn good episode with such a moral quandary to consider. Oh man, Clone Trip, you guys. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a Clone Trip episode. Dr. Scott Giles says the Orville is very special, positive, and full of humor and love. Absolutely. It's and what's great about, it's got social commentary, like some of the best sci-fi ever has always had. Kind of the purpose of science fiction is to make the viewer or the reader or whoever's absorbing it think about things that's going on in their own society, in the world, things to consider. The Orville does that, but they don't give you an answer. They just present both sides and let you decide, whatever you decide. So it's great. It makes you think about things you didn't think about. Like in the episode about a girl, I was talking about the whole trans issue, really, which I had my own opinions on, still do. But they had the Mocklins giving their point of view. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even consider that side. I mean, I still think what I think, but now I understand their side a little bit better. And it's always good, no matter what your opinion is on a thing, it's always good to understand both sides, right? Love, love, love Enterprise, Dr. Scott Giles says. Brian's saying to Ari, Poker Face is a very good mystery show. Agreed. I enjoyed Poker Face so much. Another fun show. I believe it got nominated for some Emmy. I don't know. It got nominated for something, one of those categories. Great show. If you're a Columbo fan, if you're a traveling around the country, getting into adventures like a lot of 80s shows used to do. We don't get that a lot anymore. There's no Night Riders. There's no A-Teams. There's no people just traveling and getting into situations. Poker Face is a great one to watch, you guys. Clone Trip is called Similitude. Is it Similitude or Similitude? Anyway, that dude had a tude when he found out what his purpose was. But thank you, Matthew Longstaff. Yo, Stephen Meyer, how you doing? It's crazy about Trek. I love them all. It took me a minute to get into DS9, but wow, the story took a little while to find its voice. But phenomenal on the whole. The entire 90s, 87 to... When did Voyager end? 2000, 2001? Something like that. That whole block right there is legacy Trek. That's what I call legacy Trek. It all went together. They crossed over when they could. It was all one unified universe. Enterprise kind of being the beginning of that universe. The original series literally being the beginning of the universe as far as television goes. But all of that 90s Trek, that is just golden right there. That really solidified in most people's minds what Star Trek is or what they thought it's supposed to be. But really, Star Trek is supposed to be whatever Star Trek is. It usually reflects the society at the time, people at the time. Even Enterprise got very terroristy because when Enterprise came out, that's when 9/11 happened. And they were addressing that quite a bit on the Enterprise series, but in a sci-fi type of way, aliens type of way. T Stoney, what's going on? Thank you so much for that super chat. Wow, $10 super chat. Thank you so much for helping to keep the lights on here. Afternoon, JP. Good to see you. Jaloja, DS9, my favorite Trek, but love all Trek from TOS and Berman era, Legacy Trek. And I'll add Terry Trek. Oh, Terry Matalas. That dude knows how to make a Star Trek. He made the best Star Trek since Star Trek. Terry Matalas. Give him Star Trek Legacy, you guys. We know he can make a Star Trek that people are going to watch and subscribe for. But of course, we're not even going to worry about it until the strikes are over. But once the strikes are over, I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about some new shows coming up and renewals and all these and movies and all that stuff. But right now, everything is down. Hollywood is temporarily canceled. How long? That's up to Hollywood to to fix it. Pay your people, Hollywood. Nobody feels sorry for you, Hollywood. Pay your people. T. Stoney, what makes Trek is appeal to the mind and the optimistic view of the future. Absolutely. I felt so bad for Captain Archer. Well, season 3 was rough, but season 3 was so rough. And I mean rough for the character, not for the audience. I love season 3. But by the time season 4 comes around, Archer was pretty much as jaded as you can be about exploring strange new worlds and new civilizations, because he had his butt kicked year after year. He's like, this isn't as great as I thought it was going to be. But then he got his groove back. I wish we had season 5, season 6, season 7. Of course, we always say 7 seasons as if that's a rule. But that's just because the 90s Treks all got 7 seasons apiece. But it's never a rule. It's, it's, but we always feel like we got to have them 7 seasons. If it's not 7 seasons, it doesn't count. But yeah, Trek. My favorite Trek is still The Next Generation. One thing I love about The Next Generation is that they remastered it so that you can actually still watch The Next Generation, and it looks pretty damn good on your TV. I love Voyager. I've complained about this to you guys before, but without a remaster, it just looks horrible on my television. I almost want to go and buy a CRT television just so I can watch Voyager, and it looks fine. It looks the way I remembered it. Ari says, I miss the community. This is basically the only YouTube channel I chat on whenever there's live chat going on. Well, I'm glad that you are here. I've had a little bit of a break the last couple months from doing live shows and doing long form, but I'm bringing it all back because I was testing some other features on YouTube and also working on the website and things like that, because, we got to keep this community going. And it's my job. Not your job. It's my job to keep the community going. So I ran my tests. I learned what I needed to learn. And now it's time to bring back long form videos, shorts every once in a while, live shows. And I am trying to figure out how to do these Orville videos. First one, I've said this before, is a Kalon video where I kind of want to go over moments of episodes and dive deeper into those moments. So do some episodes that are just diving deeper into different episodes and moments of the Orville, and really explore get some behind the scenes information going on, and also not make them take, not long ass videos. People ain't got time for long ass videos. Plus they take forever to make a long ass video. So more, 5 minute, 6 minute, 5 to 8 minute videos exploring moments from the Orville. I'll keep that going until more Orville comes out, you guys. Brian Dawkins, I'm sad that we don't have any Orville action figures so we can make our own shows during the downtime. Oh, wouldn't that be great? There's lots of third-party stuff that I see people working on that looks really great, but it is third-party, so you got to kind of find it. I have not seen any official, though I do know that the entire cast has had their scans done so that action figures can come out one day. But I haven't seen anything about action figures coming out. They did have those little, I can't remember what they're called at this point. Those little tiny action figures, Hero Clicks for the Orville, but they're just little things. And they're not, you can't articulate them. So, yeah, you can't make your own shows there. But when I'm allowed to talk about it, I will have some exciting news about the Orville fandom projects coming out in the future. Only Murders in the Building returns in August. Yes, Only Murders in the Building, a great show. I watched the first season. I did not get on to season 2 yet. Season 3 comes out, any day now, if it hasn't already. Probably comes out next week, if I recall. I don't remember the exact release date, though I have seen it. I want to say 28th. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I haven't seen it. I have to see season 2 before I see season 3. Big show on Hulu. Yes, I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot of seasons of that. People like murder podcast shows. They love murder podcasts. My wife loves murder podcasts. She actually just ran out of murder podcasts because she was listening to them so much that now she can't find one. So she's trying to find other podcasts to listen to because she can't find one that's as good as the one that she years of content she just finished. She loves the murder. I've been listening to murder stories for many, many months now. Not from the podcast, from her repeating what happened in the podcast. Archmage Frey, yeah, I've been seeing someone posting their custom Orville action figures one a day this last week. Isn't that awesome? I wish I had talent to make things like that. Chris Ray, thank you for that super chat. Praise Avis. We get to talk about the Orville. The Orville deserves to be talked about and kept being talked about probably for the rest of our lives. I mean, how long were people talking about Star Trek, the original series, even though they only had 3 seasons? They were talking about it for a very long time. It was, 20 years before they got another spin-off series? I mean, there were some movies there, but hey, what you gonna do? People still talk about the original series a lot. I think we can do that, but I still think we're getting more Orville. It's just the Orville isn't a factory sci-fi science fiction show like pretty much everything else. Star Trek, Mandalorian, all the Star Wars stuff, really. Marvel, it's all factory. That's all studio factory stuff. The Orville is an artisan production made by artists that really care about what they're making. And it's going to come out when they're ready and able to make it. Like even Doctor Who comes out whenever it wants to come out. Sometimes they'll have a season a year, and sometimes they'll go off do other things. Red Dwarf has been putting out seasons here and there for decades at this point. Things, especially with expensive quality shows, they're not going to come out every year because there's just not enough time to make them. The Orville takes a long time to make. Season 3, even if they didn't have the COVID delay, would still have taken over a year just to film, and then another 6 months to a year to edit it and put in all the effects and all that stuff. It's very high quality. But you guys know that. Thomas Gig, how you doing? There are a few good Orville fanfics, just a lot of weird stuff to filter out, as with all franchises. Yeah, you gotta filter out the weird stuff. I'm talking to you, Lieutenant Dan. No, we need more Lieutenant Dan, you guys. Ooh, Claymation Orville. I'm all for it. I mean, I'm not gonna make it because Claymation is a production right there. That's a lot of little bit of movement, click, little bit of movement, click. I don't have the patience for that, but some people do, and I would love to see what they're able to do with it. Yeah, Cobra Kai. Man, I got so behind on Cobra Kai. I think I watched the first 2 seasons and then just kind of forgot about it, but always planned on going back. And now they're on season like 37 or something like that. They just keep coming out with more and more seasons. But luckily, that's a show that's not expensive to make at all. So they can keep putting stuff like that out on time, whenever they want. Because, probably takes $5 per episode. Just kidding. I'm sure it takes a lot more than that. But yes, R.S. Greenwell, let's get more Ville. Forville. Renew the Orville. Dr. Scott Giles, I tend to watch longer videos of 20 minutes to a half hour. CinemaSins, etc. need the more expansive format. Comedy sometimes needs the extra time as it develops. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. Not always wanting to, but sometimes you have to. But when I watch videos, I usually go shorter. But there are a lot of videos that are longer. Sometimes I'll watch longer videos when I'm trying to get something explained to me and something informative. Something that's pure entertainment, I want it to be shorter. Things that are more explanatory, I like them longer. but everyone's got their preferences. That's why there's so much variety on YouTube. Brian Dawkins, I will never forget the first day of school episode of Cobra Kai. That was a very exciting piece of TV. I don't know if I've seen that or not. I might have. If it's in the first 2 seasons, I saw it. Yes, Visible Conundrum says Moorville. Love. Hashtag Moorville. JT Shark, I predict we will see yearly movies over another series. Several actors have other gigs on hold during the strike. We talk about how busy Seth is. The actors are in demand as well. Yeah, we shall see. I know that some of them have little roles here and there. I don't know if they have any series. A series will take a lot of time, but little roles here and there, plenty of time to do all the projects that you're hired for. But yeah, we might just get movies. We might get a whole series though. Seriously, I'm pretty sure Seth wants a series. Just because the Orville probably needs another season to really cement to the audience that it's a whole universe. It's all these stories. I think it'll get watched by more people if it gets that 4th season. It'll be able to stick in streaming services, which I assume is the future of everything. Will want to be throwing money at the show because the audience will be even bigger at that point. But I think he feels it needs another season. I know the episode that's already written, that's on hold for season 4, Sympathy for the Devil, would make an amazing episode, but would not work as a movie. So we'll have to see. I think it's all up to Seth. I think he has the power that if he wants that 4th season, he can get it put together. Just don't know if it'll be Disney, Hulu, Peacock, Tubi. But yeah, it might be. I just know that whatever things that are going on in the world don't mean anything. The strike doesn't mean anything. Maybe Disney will renew it, but even if they don't, doesn't mean anything. People are like, oh, it's been so long. Well, it hasn't really been that long, but it will be a little bit long once another season gets finished. But that's not going to hurt either. Season 3 already proved that you can wait as long as you want and the audience will show up and then some. So I wouldn't let the things that would usually worry people worry you. If Seth wants another season, he will find a way to get it done. And so far, he says he wants another season. He wants more Orville. But, maybe he'll decide, hey, a movie might be just right at this point. Or maybe he says, maybe he'll say, oh, let's get a movie done. And that'll keep people tied over until we're able to do another season. That happens too. Alicia Victoria Parker, how's it going? Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Good to see you. But as humans, we want to worry about things. I would not worry. I would just be hopeful. And if they officially announce a renewal, then we'll all be thankful. We'll celebrate. But I will tell you, if the Orville gets renewed, I'm going to be saying, hey, there's some people out there on the internet that owe me an apology. I'll be a jerk about it too. Because I've kept my faith of the Orville this entire time. But I understand it's easy to get to be worried. You love this thing, and there's just a lot of obstacles. Brian Dawkins says, I want Peacock to buy the Orville because Seth MacFarlane works there. I see that as a possibility. Seth works for Peacock. Seth is NBC. He's not Fox. He's not Disney. Unless they renew the Orville, then he'll be a little bit Disney as well. But he's Peacock. He's NBC. So if Disney decides that they're going through too much turmoil right now that they can't throw the money at the Orville, maybe Peacock will be like, ooh, this is our chance. This is our chance to really get a big property, a big fancy sci-fi thing going on. Peacock has a lot of cool stuff. I don't see them really being anywhere in the science fiction game. So that might get them in that game, and they'll really be able to put forth some competition for the other streamers. Thomas Skiddick says, "What actors are most likely to leave if it does get renewed?" I don't see anyone leaving. I know Jay Lee said that he's got other projects he's trying to work on, but he's leaving time for the Orville in case they get called back to start making another season. I know that Adrian Palicki says she's totally up for coming back. I know Scott would be up for it. I don't think anyone would leave. Alicia says, none of the cast are going to be at Comic-Con, are they? My husband and I will be checking stuff out tomorrow and Sunday. I believe the Orville was originally planned to have probably a little something at Comic-Con, but I think they were supposed to have a big showing at Las Vegas, Star Trek Las Vegas. I have no idea if that's still going on because actors aren't supposed to be they're not supposed to be going to conventions to promote anything. They can still go to conventions on their own dime, but they can't talk about if they're working on something. They can't promote something. Now, the Orville season 3 has already come out. It's out, available. You can promote it, but it's not a thing upcoming. It's from the past. So I guess if they went, it'd be on their own dime, which I don't know if they want to do that because it's expensive to live in Los Angeles, you guys. And maybe they're allowed to talk about previous seasons, but not a future season. Of course, they wouldn't talk about that unless it was announced anyway. And I know that they are not going to announce anything, the Orville, until these strikes are over. And I doubt the strikes are over that soon. Because they got a lot of stuff to work out with these actors and writers. T. Stoney, the cast all seems very enthusiastic. Still want to get back out. They still want to get back out into space. And yes, and none of them are involved in anything that wouldn't allow them to still film a new season of the Orville. If they pick up a whole series, if they get cast in a whole series, it might, throw a wrench into the works. But I haven't seen any of them getting picked up for any big shows or anything like that. Scott Grimes did get picked up for Seth's new show, Ted, the Ted series. I guess he's probably playing the father of the boy that has the teddy bear, Johnny. I can't remember the character's name, but that's already filmed. That's probably pretty much already ready to go. But of course, now there's a strike. Started with the writer strike because Seth is part of WGA. So once the writers went on strike, Seth said, all of my projects are on hold right now. So I assume that means Ted. Ted's not coming out until the strike is over. But I think it's probably done. Because I think it was supposed to be coming out this summer. And we're in the middle of the summer right now. So I'm guessing that's done, but just not going to come out until these writers start getting paid. But now it might still not come out until the actors are paid. Who will Hollywood settle with first? Will they make a new contract for the actors first, or will they make a new contract for the writers first? They have to deal with both of them, and without any of them, there's nothing going to be happening in Hollywood except for reality TV shows. Yay. Doc Civil, are there any Orville action figures? If not, why not? There are Orville, lots of Orville merchandise. The only actual the ship models, all that great stuff. There's some really good ships from Eagle Moss. There's no real action figures except for Hero Clicks. There's the Orville Hero Clicks, but they're just little things, these little figurines for some sort of game. They're not legit action figures. If they do come out with legit action figures someday, I hope Todd MacFarlane makes them. I'll totally be down. I'll pay whatever he charges if we get some Todd MacFarlane's making some Seth MacFarlane toys. Yeah, a couple of the actors are stage actors. Dr. Scott Giles, what's going on? SAG members can't go to things or promote anything at all. Comic-Con will probably actually be comics this year. Yeah, a lot of people are already canceling all their appearances. Kate Mulgrew just put up yesterday that she's not going to the things that she said she was going to because she wants to be in solidarity with the strikes. I've seen a lot of other actors cancel their appearances. Some things there will still be actors appearing. I think Star Trek Las Vegas, I think a lot of the actors will still be going there to promote the older Star Trek, maybe not the new upcoming Star Trek, maybe not Strange New Worlds. If they're there, they can't talk about Strange New Worlds. They can talk about the strike. They can talk about, you know, how they put their pants on in the morning, but they probably won't be able to talk about any of the current Star Trek. Heavy Cap, do you ever get aspirations to write or concept your own show? Maybe I'm already doing that. Wink, wink. Can't talk about it at this juncture, but we'll be talking about something similar to that on in a further date. A date I don't know as of yet. Brian Dawkins, I believe they want to break these poor people and have them groveling for crumbs. Yes, that seems to be the case. They just Variety put out a quote they got from one of the studio execs saying that they want to wait until October to talk to the writers when these people start losing their apartments and their houses, and they're really desperate. That's when the studio execs want to come back to the table, so that all the people in the union are starving for work. Dick Move, villainy, or villainy, both, I think. And the actors, one of the things the studio execs proposed to the actors, to SAG, was using AI, using scanning background actors' faces and bodies, and then putting them into future productions without their knowledge, without their say, without paying them. And that way they could put extras into any show or movie that they want to, but they don't have to pay anybody. And that's when SAG was like, no, this is too much. We need to make some new accommodations, a new contract. We're going on strike. These execs, I'm telling you, they all want their money. I'm surprised Bob Iger from Disney, he only makes, and by only I mean he makes a lot. He makes $24 million a year, and he's working out a deal to try to get that even raised up more for future years. $24 million a year for doing what? I don't know. But a lot of these streamer execs, CEOs, are making 24 million, 30 some million. The execs for Netflix make 50 million a year for doing what? I have no idea. Saying yay or nay. I guess that's their job. They get paid millions for saying yay or nay. That's too much money. That's too much damn money for anybody to make. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Elon Musk. That's too much money. But they don't want to give up any of it. They would all, if they all gave up 2% of their pay, which would be nothing to them, it would cover everything that the unions want. Everybody would get paid, everybody do well, everybody pay their rent. It's crazy. Just make less money and you still be making too much money. Nobody's on the sides of the studios except studio execs, except for maybe some other execs out there. Yeah, Ari says, Ian, it's more like actors against the execs. It's a tug of war over money. Because something I've known for a long time, because I moved out here from LA, I've known a lot of actors. I've known actors that you would recognize, and they never had much money. They were getting work. They're working on shows, but they never had much money when it came to the streaming stuff. They had regular shows they're doing okay, but they still weren't very rich. I mean, you got your 1% of actors that are in the union they're doing great. Your Matt Damons, your Pee Wee Hermans, those types. They're doing okay. They're doing really okay. Some of them, but most of the actors in the guild don't even make enough money a year to qualify for health insurance. So it's just crazy. And streaming has changed the rules. And streaming's been around for a long time now. And I'm surprised they haven't had a new contract out by now. I'm surprised they haven't had a strike by now. Ari says, Alara was my favorite character, and I was pretty heartbroken when they had her exit the show. But man, did they not give Alara a great exit. Her character's still out there living her life, rebuilding her relationship with her parents, which is what she really, really wanted. And they really took the moments of the episode home, episode 3, season 2, to really let her character shine. And to have Robert Picardo and John Billingsley, the two doctors of Star Trek, really go at it with some crazy stuff. John Billingsley turned out to be crazy creepy when we found out that he was a bad guy. Such a great story, and really, you didn't even need the Orville in that episode to tell that great story. Scott Giles says, "Man, I can't get over how weird and terrible these studios are. Zaslav gets almost $250 million a year. That is nuts. That is nuts. That's too much money. Nobody should have that much money, unless they're giving it to the needy and the poor. You know, keep a big chunk for yourself, but you're gonna have a lot of left over that you don't need. They should do something good with." Bob Grimes, unfortunately, technology will progress. Yes, it will. Stage actors resented radio, and movies resented TV. Everyone resented the internet, etc. New technologies will continue whether we like it or not. It will. Even the people that develop AI are saying, "Hey, we need to hold off. We need to slow down on AI. It's getting out of our hands." Elon Musk said, "We need to slow down on AI. It's going to get dangerous." But I guess really, AI isn't the problem. It's the people that use the AI for bad things that would mostly be the problem. But we'll have to see. If we blow up in a couple years due to AI, then we'll know. We'll know how big of a problem AI was. Mercer Create. I thought they cleared that up when Crispin Glover sued the studio for using footage of him in Back to the Future 2. That's film. That's film. If that was, which had a whole different contract. But if that was on streaming, if Back to the Future, if that whole fiasco with Crispin Glover, because in Back to the Future 2, they have like old man Crispin Glover, Marty's dad. That's not really Crispin Glover. That's a dude they hired and put a mask on him to make him kind of look like Crispin Glover. And then I guess when they went back in time to the 50s, you see him there again. They use footage from the movie, but they never approved that with him. He sued them. I guess he won. I don't remember the whole situation. But if that was streaming, he'd probably have nothing he can do about it, because they didn't have any type of contracts to protect actors. It reminds me a lot of streaming. Reminds me a lot of like back in the 60s. Like you'll have Gilligan's Island. Those actors didn't make anything after they were done filming. They made what they made when they were filming, but all those reruns, years and years and decades of reruns, they weren't making what they were supposed to make off of that. But then SAG had a strike in the 70s. I hope that fixed some of the problem with the Gilligan's Islands, you know, getting the actors getting the money from residuals, because I guarantee you there's $1 billion worth of Gilligan's Island reruns that have played in my lifetime. That's kind of what's going on. There's no protections for the talent. The studios are making their money. They don't even tell you how much money they make. They don't tell you how well or not well a show does. They don't tell you how much money they're making off of subscriptions. And that's what it all comes down to, is the subscriptions. Yeah, the 1955 scenes were him with the reused That's like kind of like a rerun, really. And he wasn't getting any money for that. So I guess he had a right to sue because he never agreed to be in that movie. Yet there he was. Skynet, says Dr. Scott Giles. Why me worry? Skynet went crazy in 1997. But I guess they're back. Crispin changed the whole industry. He's kind of a weird dude himself. Or is that even true? Maybe Crispin Glover is a normal dude, but Hollywood put out bad rumors about him, about his work ethic and the way he is on set, just to get revenge on him for suing them. I don't know. Yeah, streaming is like the wild, wild west. We wanted it. We wanted streaming. We thought we wanted it. We wanted to stop paying the subscriptions to cable were and are nuts, because there's a few things you want to watch, a few channels you want to watch, and then the rest is just a bunch of garbage. Still the same today. Now so we cut the cord. Oh, I'll get Netflix, the DVD service with Netflix. Oh, they got streaming. Oh, now there's another streaming service and another streaming service. And before you know it, you're paying the same amount of money for all these streaming services that you were for the cable. I mean, at least you can cancel them that's the one good thing, I guess, is there's no penalty for canceling. But still, every streaming service has something that somebody feels they need to have the streaming service for. They want to watch this show. They want to watch that show. But look at all the other stuff. Think of any streaming service, any of them. They got a couple things that you want to watch, and then so much junk. They all have junk on them. And that junk costs money to produce too. Why don't these streaming services get rid of some of the legit junk that's on them, save that money, and put it towards the good shows that bring in subscribers? Jim Watson, when streaming, I get to pick my shows. Yeah. I mean, that's good, I guess. Remember channel flipping? I mean, there's a part of me, remembers as a child, and I kind of I remember fondly flipping through channels, but really, I probably hated it. It sucked. Though I remember it fondly, because I was young and I didn't have to pay taxes or bills or anything. I was just a kid enjoying what was on the tube. You never knew what you were going to find. Sherwood Schwartz, Brady Bunch. Yep, Brady Bunch. Used his Brady Bunch money to find out why he wasn't getting his Gilligan's Island money. Bad deals with the Gilligan's Island people. Good old Sherwood Schwartz. The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. I watched a hell of a lot of Brady Bunch when I was flipping through those channels, you guys. By the way, seeing Bortus stab that guy that tortured Topa was satisfying. Midnight Blue. Such a great episode. The one dude, that one Mocklin, tortured Topa. Never thought I would see that. But they went there, tortured Topa, young 3-year-old girl. And she's only like 3 years old. People forget that. Tortured her. Bortus found the dude and whacked him up pretty good. Gave him a good beating. The guy deserved it. Such a good episode. That episode left people in tears, but then the next episode, episode 9, season 3, Domino, where we lost Charlie, came out, and people were really crying. There's a lot of crying in season 3. There's a little bit of crying in season 1, season 2, but season 3, almost every episode. I did not cry in Shadow Realms, the scary one, the Spider People, episode 2. Did not cry during that one. Don't think I cried in Majority Rule. No, not Majority Rule. I'm sorry. Mortality Paradox, episode 3. I might have got teared up because I was watching Orville. but nothing really happened on screen that made me cry, if I recall. But all the other episodes, they all had something going on that'll tear you up a little bit. Which says a lot. It says a lot about how Seth MacFarlane has grown over the years with his own career and his own writing and the things that he's interested in. Family Guy never made me cry. Ted never made me cry. American Dad never made me cry. The Orville make you laugh, make you cry, make you scream with excitement, make you go, things that make you go, You know how it is, you guys. Ari says Brian Schwartz could have got a lot more money if he had taken Cousin Oliver and stranded him on Gilligan's Island. Cousin Oliver, are we talking about Different Strokes? Was Different Strokes the one that had Cousin Oliver? The world don't move to the beat of just one drum. The Orville used Halston's image in two topas without credit. Probably without credit because they didn't want people to think, oh, she's coming back. She's coming back. But yeah, they had Tala there in the topa watching the court scene from About a Girl in the environmental simulator. You can see Alara there. I remember when I first saw that episode, I'm like, oh my God, there's Alara. But then they bring her back at the end, don't they? I kind of figured they were going to bring her back again. There was a rumor when before season 3, when season 3 was just in production, early on, before COVID, there was a rumor that they gave her a schedule where she can pick where she wanted to come in and work on an episode of the Orville. I mean, she couldn't pick whatever episode. I mean, this is the schedule we're going to be possibly filming. Does any of this work for you? Turned out that rumor was true. And she was there. Now, if they do a 4th season, will they bring back Alara? I don't know. If they do, I hope it's to have a real adventure with her and Tala working together to help solve the problem of the episode. But I can also see merit in not bringing her back to get past it. So I can see it both ways. If they do a full season, if they do by full season, 10 episodes, that's how the world works today. But if they do a 4th season, I would think, I do not know, but I would think the episodes will go back to being normal length. I would assume. And maybe a couple more bottle episodes. I would think they would go back to doing 45, 52-minute episodes as opposed to between 61 minutes and 88 minutes, which is what they did with season 3. I mean, they really were doing almost films every episode. I would think they wouldn't do that, but maybe they'll have enough money to do it. I hope so. But if not, I'll be okay. What do you guys think? Would you be okay with some normal length Orville episodes? Season 3 only being 10 episodes was still the same amount of running time of season 2, which had 14 episodes. So we still got the same amount of running time, even though we had less episodes. Oh, I'm sure they paid her. I'm sure Seth makes sure that despite whatever the pay schedules are, whatever the pay system is for streaming, I'm sure he makes sure everyone is given the fair broadcast / film type of contracts. I do know that during COVID, when everyone was off work for like a year, he made sure everyone was still getting paid. I mean, for as long as he could. Seth cares more about the people and the project and the work than he does about making the money. The Mocklins have a few openings for new scientists since their planet blew up. Yeah. Well, that was their side planet. That was that wasn't Mockless. That was just some other planet that they controlled. But yeah, there was a lot of people on that planet, a lot of scientists and whatnot on that planet. Also, they had that other planet. The Mocklins had that other planet where they tortured Topa. That wasn't on Mockless. That was just on some planet that they had a secret base on. what's with the Mocklans and all these secret bases? We also need to find out what's going on with the Mocklan Krill alliance in a 4th season. We need to get Anaya back, or not even back, there for the very first time. We need to unite, not even a reunite. It's a unite Anaya with her father, Ed Mercer. We need to know what's going on with Priya from season 1, Charlize Theron. In episode 5, I'll be making a video about this because it's very interesting to me. In episode 5, season 1, Priya, they ended up closing the wormhole. Priya is from the 29th century. They closed the wormhole, so her whole story never existed because they closed the wormhole, so her time did not have a way to time travel anymore. But later on in the Orville universe, with the anti-banana ray, they created a time machine. So time travel is back on the table. If Ed has a way to time travel, that means that technology, I'm sure, would show up in the would make its way all the way to the 29th century. So now Priya's timeline has time travel in it again. So will we meet her again? Totally, it's totally logical in my mind that we can meet Priya in season 4 with another story, but she's a different person. Maybe she's super nice. Maybe she's super evil. Maybe she's a little bit of both, like she was before, even though she wasn't that evil before. She was just kind of a dick, trying to get some profits. So will we see Priya again? Will she remember us? Probably not. Ed said so in that episode, that we'll see her again. She probably won't remember us, but we'll remember her. That needs to be followed up, you guys. And many other stories need to be followed up. We need to figure out what they're going to do with Yaphet since the passing of Norm Macdonald. We need to know more about Lieutenant Dan's people. I want to know more about Gordon's family. There's so many things to keep telling story after story after story about, you guys. Yeah, no AI recreations, not even of Yaphet. I would think that the story that we've talked about is that Yaphet should split, reproduce, and become 2 new jellies. One jelly leaves, one jelly stays. We don't know who we want to play those jellies. Kind of be cool to have William Shatner play a jelly. The anti-banana ray scientist was Babu from Seinfeld. I forget that actor's name. Well, the actor, the doctor was Aronov, Dr. Aronov. Ari says, I think they should have him split again. There you go. And bring in actors to play Yaphet. And Yaphet could even have a different name, maybe a different shade of green, or maybe a different color altogether. It's the possibilities are endless. But it would be interesting to have 2 jellies, wouldn't it, that work together? Like twinsies. Yeah, Huey says, keep both jellies and have them love each other. And maybe they're both trying to go out and hit on Claire. Will they even have any of Yaphet's memories? Or are they completely new creatures? But I remember Yaphet said when he was trying to explain how his people reproduce, he said that his brother used to be his mother or something like that. So I guess that's how that works. Yes, Lowar is another big one, a big storyline that we need an update on. In the episode season 2, Deflectors, Lowar was turned in to the Mocklans because Lowar is straight. As we know, Mocklans is a full, so they say, a single gender society, all males, so they say. That's another story as well, which we need actually more updates on. I want to know why they say that, what happened in their own history that caused them to do that. They're all males, so it's, they're all gay, basically. But Lowar is straight. He's attracted to females. Sucks that on his planet there's not really any females that he knows of. So they find out he's straight, which is disgusting to a Moclan purist like Clyden. Turns him in. Lowar gets sent to Moclan jail. That's the last we saw of Lowar, but now we know there's a sanctuary for Moclans. Did Lowar make it to the sanctuary? Is Lowar even alive? Was he trying to make it to the sanctuary and gets killed? I think that would suck because it would be awesome to see Lowar. If Lowar is going to get killed, I'd like to at least see him get killed fighting for the right to be who he is. That would be an awesome storyline as well. So we're going to need Lowar, Anaya, Priya. I want to know what happens with, oh gosh, what's her name? I know her name from the last episode, the girl that they got from the Minority Rule episode from that planet. I know her name, and I can't remember the character's name. But anyway, what happens with her? She was really wanting to help her people advance, and of course she learned that it's not right. It's not time for them to advance. They'll probably end up doing more damage than good. But I want to see that story. I want to see that struggle. I want to see her. Maybe there's a reason for her to go visit her world, but she has to do it low key. I want to see that happen. I'd love to see that planet again. AKA that planet is located in Century City, California, right next to the Fox Studios, right there by the Fox lot in Century City. If you know Century City, you'll recognize it. I know it very well. I used to work there. Yes, Brian Dawkins, free Lowar, Moclan prisoner of conscience. I have done the hashtag justice for Lowar many times on my Twitter page. I want an update. Kevin Daniels played Lowar. Would love to see him come back. Not Listella. I think it's Lysella. Close. Listella! I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. Lysella, I think is what it is. YouTube user. I am also a YouTube user. I would like to see Lieutenant Dan have some sort of heroic episode in which he saves the day. Yes, I would too. There's so many things that we've talked about over the years that we would love to see in the Orville. And I'm like, damn, there's so many great ideas. They would never be able to do that many episodes. We would never get enough. We would need a full 26 episode season. Yes, Archmage Frey, Newton, or we riot. Chief Newton. We lost him in episode 11. Well, we didn't lose him. He just moved on to go build a space station. Would love to see Newton back. Just for one episode. It can just be a quick walk-on. We meet him at a party. Maybe we go to that space station. It needs our help. Or the space station is finally ready. Took a few years to build it. It's going to have its launch day. Even though it's not going anywhere. I don't think. And the Orville's there for the party. And then something starts going down. We need the people on the Orville a problem. There's a problem. And the Orville people got to solve it. Lysella is the name, says Kylie. I just misspelled her name. Lysella. Hey, Paul Smith, how you doing? Holy chicken. It's Egotastic FunTime. Yes, going live. Bob Grimes, get another SNL sarcastic comic to play Yaphet. Maybe Bill Hader. Bill Hader would be a good voice. I'm sure you'd come up with some great voice. I mean, he could probably do his own voice too. We want to see the captain of the Orville who retired. That captain, we have seen that captain in the comics. In the comics, I can't remember that captain's name, but he's an older dude. We have seen him. Actually, the comics is the only time we've really, except for one episode of the Orville, episode 9, season 2, Identity Part 2, we haven't seen any other captains in the Union fleet, except for, I think his name was it Carlos or something like that? Anyway, but in the comics, we have met many captains. we even had the alternate timeline. I think Kelly was on a ship in the alternate timeline, maybe a commander, and her captain looked just like Ripley, Sigourney Weaver from Alien. But yeah, we've met quite a few different. No. That was Ed's captain when he was younger. She didn't like him very much. I also want to find out if Gordon and his family still exist on the other timeline. Yes, I feel that Gordon did not lose his family. I mean, this can be argued. This is an arguable situation. I feel Gordon did not lose his family in the episode Twice in a Lifetime. I think another alternate timeline was created. But, I mean, that can be argued. There's lots of different ways to see time. There's a linear way, which Q would not be for. But there's a linear way, a more whatever's not linear way. There's multiverses, single verses, all that stuff. I think another universe was created. But that can be argued. As long as it's not Pauly Shore as a jelly. I don't know. Pauly Shore might work. He might start wheezing the juice. Thomas Gig, if another of the main cast was to die, who should it be? Would they kill someone in the main cast? Or would they create a new character like they did with Charlie Burke to die within the season? So we feel like she's part of the regular crew, but really she's not. She's just there for that season. I don't want them to kill anybody. Unless it's a legit end to a season, I wouldn't want them to kill anybody, but I really wouldn't want them to kill anybody anyway, because I would want that character to show up in a movie. I think we'll definitely at some point, no matter how many seasons we get, at some point there's going to be some movies. Marcos. What did I say, Carlos? Or did I say Marcos? I can't remember. Laura Grayling, I am new. What is going on? Is the Orville renewed? An article just came out from Rotten Tomatoes that the Orville is renewed. They should have a list of every TV show, and some are canceled, some are renewed. They listed the Orville as renewed, but with further digging, Laura, I found out that the only reason it says renewed is because the show has not been canceled. I do believe we are getting more Orville. I've had conversations with production. I have not been given any specifics, but I can read their moods, the way they're feeling about the Orville. I've had times where they're not feeling that great about the Orville. That happened during when they were having talks with Disney, so I don't know the specifics. But then a couple weeks later, I'm talking with them, and they feel very good about the Orville. So I don't have any specifics, but I feel like we're getting more Orville. I know that Seth and the cast and the crew all want more Orville, but I do not. And even if we do get more Orville, which I think we will, I'm not going off of a Rotten Tomato article. I think they just made a mistake. Not even a mistake. It's nothing. Entertainment news is usually nothing burgers or just copy and paste stuff. I will only truly say the Orville is officially renewed when I hear it from Seth or one of the producers of the show. Until then, I still feel like we're getting more, but I don't have the official news yet. And they even said to me that they will not be, well, I also said it in a tweet, but they said to me personally as well, that they're not going to be making any announcements until the strikes, the WGA strike and the SAG strikes, are over. Because they said it's kind of bad form. When something like this is going on in Hollywood, it's kind of bad form to be promoting or announcing a new thing you're going to be working on eventually someday. Right now, it's all about the strikes. Once the strikes are over, we will be learning some more official news. But right now, I say keep the faith of the Orville. Hang tight. I personally feel we're getting some more. I felt that way the whole time. I feel it more now. But nothing official has been announced as of yet. I don't even if it happens, I don't believe anything like a Rotten Tomatoes article. If it's not from Variety or Deadline, I pretty much don't put much stock in anything, because most websites, Rotten Tomatoes, Den of Geek, it's just creators like me trying to get noticed. So it's like me writing an article off the top of my head. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but really it's not news. Even this video, this live stream is not news. It's just a conversation. Now, years ago, I would say, oh, it's news. You know, look at me, give me numbers, give me views. But I stopped doing that years ago. And I'm just like, we'll just have conversations about what we think may or may not be happening. But thank you, Laura. I appreciate you coming in and saying that and getting me off on a tangent. Digressions was my favorite. That's the one where that's the Gordon Orville comic, is it not? Maybe Tala, if they bring back Alara. I love Tala. I mean, I love Alara. I mean, we all love Alara. I do prefer Tala when it comes to security. I like her character. It's more believable to me instead of being green and trying to figure it out. But we love Alara. I would love to see Alara every once in a while. I don't know if I would want her back in a permanent position, but I would love to have some adventures with Alara. Um, you know, she's got experience. She knows some stuff. Maybe she knows something that we need her help on. Only she can help us. Maybe her dad gets kidnapped and the Orville is tasked with saving him. Oh, but we need someone that knows him, or maybe just disappeared. But his daughter knows him and she knows us. Let's have Alara and Tala work together to kick some Selayan butt and get her dad back. We need him. He's knowledgeable in something, some sort of thing that he's a smart brains at, that we might need his information. But he disappeared. Scott Giles, Multiverse is a problematic story device. Like time travel, it takes all the stakes away unless it is very, very carefully written. Even then, it's a trope that's been used a whole lot. Well, especially now. Everybody's on the multiverse thing when it comes to anything. When it comes to all science fiction stuff is multiverse. Even everything everywhere all at once. Audiences have finally been able to wrap their mind around a little bit the idea of a multiverse. So everyone's using that right now. And I love multiverse stuff because I've always gotten it since I was a little kid. I've gotten that sort of thing. But thank you, Back to the Future alternate timeline from when Biff had a casino. I've understood multiverse, but yeah, it is used a lot. And I like a lot of things until it starts getting used too much. I don't know if I'm tired of multiverse yet, but eventually I will be. Doctor Strange 2, the Madness of the Multiverse, I can't remember what it's called. That was a little much because it was so studio. It was very studio to me. And I love Doctor Strange. I love Cumberbatch as that character. But I really did not like that Multiverse of Madness thing. They didn't do it the way I wanted them to do it. But hey, it's not. No one's asking me what I want to see on the screen. So I guess I got to take what I can get. Brian Dawkins, it's important for us to keep the Orville alive by talking about it. Exactly. Let's keep the conversation going. If you're not talking about Orville, I don't know what you're doing. I'm always talking about the Orville. I go online every day just to make sure I put something about the Orville, whether it be news, whether it just be thoughts, whether it just be fun little things, little jokes. Always putting something out about the Orville every single day. I can't remember the last day in my life that I haven't done that. Kroom, what's going on? Kroom says, hi, JP. I'm late to the stream. So basically they were talking about season 3 being renewed. For anyone that just showed up, that's what Rotten Tomatoes said on one of their articles from the other day that amongst a ton of other shows, like 500 shows, the Orville is listed as renewed. But I found out that they only said that because the Orville has not been canceled. So really, they don't know. They don't know. Don't listen to stuff on the internet unless it is a highly respected site or company. Really do not listen to entertainment news, especially because everything's just click, 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 or just throw something out. It doesn't matter if it's true, type of thing. So they weren't lying about the Orville getting renewed, but it's also not necessarily the truth either. So it's kind of an in-between situation. But if the Orville gets officially renewed, I will have a video out and a live stream. Big as day letters saying if the Orville is officially renewed. Until you hear it from me or Seth MacFarlane or one of the other producers on the show, don't even bother with with articles that are online. I guess that's the lesson. The internet is a lie. Brian Dawkins, I post stuff on Twitter about the Orville. I hope the people who see it like it. I'm sure they do. It's very hard to find someone who doesn't like the Orville. I mean, you can find people that hate everything, but they're not living great lives. They're very unhappy. So most people love the Orville because they're not unhappy people. Doctor Strange was barely a multiverse story. I had no idea. I barely remember much of that movie. They just kept traveling through the little breaks in reality. I didn't get much of a story out of it. Though I love Doctor Strange. I love the first movie so much. I loved his Doctor Strange in the Avengers movies and the Spider-Man movie. A lot of fun. I just think they tried to go too big, which is what a lot of these movies do, even shows do, especially Marvel or even Star Wars. They just try to go too big at the end, and then they lose everybody because it starts becoming a mind-numbing array of whateverness going on the screen. Too much action. I love action. Like how do you pronounce it? Shang-Chi, that other Marvel movie, the more Asian movie. Loved that movie. I thought it was great. That had Aquafina, right? I love anything Aquafina's in. I love the movie. I loved the action in the middle, the beginning and the middle. And they had kung fu fighting, martial arts. All that stuff was so good, so engaging. And then they had a big old mind-numbing dragon thing at the end. And I'm like, I don't even care anymore. It's just starting to get just silly. But I like the movie. I like the characters. But then I just start, I'm bored now. This is too much excitement. I'm bored. Thank you, Brian Dawkins, for renewing your subscription to this channel, being a member of this channel, the Donkey Hugger. Celebrate all the good times, says Brian Dawkins. You have been a member for 40 months. I don't even know how much time that is. I don't even know what 40 months is. But you've been a member for 40 months, and I very much thank you for helping to keep the lights on, helping to keep talking of the Orville going, to keep the universe going, keep people hyped, keep people excited about this show that will hopefully be getting an announcement of a 4th season or something, a movie, something, after these strikes are over. But as they said, they're not moving on anything about making announcements about the Orville until the strikes are over. Jim Watson, Orville is great entertainment. That is what we all crave. Going back to the original series, yes, Gene had a message, but it was done in such a marvelous way. His stories promoted, in some cases, what could be. Yes, the whole idea of a utopian future is the idea of what could be if we all start working together and going towards the future, making the world a better place for future generations, making sure everyone's taken care of, keeping the inventions coming, exploring. It's never going to happen because humans are humans. But wouldn't it be nice if we have if this planet gets a utopian future someday. It won't. Which is why I love utopian future type series and shows and movies. But we won't. I don't believe it for a second because I've been keeping my eye on humanity. I know what you guys have done. Not you guys. You guys are awesome. But those other people out there, those other humans, I know what they're up to. Up to no good. 10 decades? That's a century. Yes. That's how many decades of filmmaking and television that we've had. Give or take. Probably a little bit of give in the film section and a little bit of take from the television section. Last time Clyden went on for like 5 minutes, laughing my A off. Yes, Chris Ray, he almost did it again. Actually, he might be doing it right now. Let me unmute my computer. Is he doing it? Yes, he is doing it. Let me mute him real quick. Turn my volume back on my speakers. Hooray for you! Hooray! There he is. He's been going off the whole time. Turn him up for you. Hooray for you! Hooray! Shut up, Clyden. Nobody cares about you, Clyden. Man, I'm going to have to go on that website that does that for these streams and look into what the heck's going on. Gaming since '88. What's up? I hope a season 4 will happen. So much left on the table from season 3. Yeah, we were talking about that. The Krill Mocklin alliance. That's a big one. That's a big one. And now we got the Kalon on our side. Will we be able to? What will we do? I mean, the Union's not going to want to eradicate the Krill and the Union. I mean, and the Mocklins, as bad as they are. But the Kalon, what will the Kalon do? The Kalon might start making moves without us. Say, hey, let's just destroy all these people. They probably can do it. But then there's the Calivan. What if the Krill and the Mocklins are somehow able to convince the Calivan to come in on their side? The Calivan, I think, are ever so slightly more powerful than the Kalon. That would be some bad mojo right there, you guys. You have been useful, sober man. Thank you, Chris Ray. I am sober, actually. I know you're talking about that episode from the Orville season 3, but actually I'm sober. I stopped drinking a while back, and now I don't even miss it. I've been having mocktails. But yes, we have a lot more Orville to talk about. I have a lot more Orville videos to make. I'm trying to figure out the framework for the videos that I want to do going into all kinds of different episodes of the Orville across all 3 seasons. Help keep us excited for the Orville and really talk about the Orville for years to come until we get more Orville. And guess what? When we get more Orville, we're going to be talking about more Orville. And we'll be doing those live pre-shows. Or did I do post-shows this year? I think I did post-shows this year since it didn't air per se. It was on streaming, so people watched it when they wanted to watch it. So we did live post-shows for the Orville. So we'll be doing that when a new season comes out or something comes out, which I know they want to come out with something. I just don't know exactly what it's going to be, you guys. Yes, what happened to the Calivan now that we've introduced their society to reality television? Are they ruined? Are they dumb? Are they dumb now? Are they not smart-brained like they used to be? I don't know. Do they need our help to figure out how to overcome their addiction to reality television? What if it didn't do anything? What if it's just what if they did something to the idea of reality television and started to make their own reality television? I'm very interested to find out what Seth MacFarlane has in store for the Calivan. Now, if we get season 4 and they have the episode well, they will. The episode Sympathy for the Devil, we will see the Caliban again. It's not a big Caliban story, but we will see some Caliban in that episode. And I think I have the link in the description of this live stream to get your own copy, Audible copy of Sympathy for the Devil, read by Bruce Boxleitner, who of course plays the president of the union in season 3. We'd love to see Bruce Boxleitner in season 4 of the Orville. But you guys, I gotta get going. I got a kid over here playing video games, just yelling his you know what off at the other players. Kind of annoys me, so I'm gonna go see if he's being a bad player or a good player. If he's a bad player, I'll turn his internet off for a couple minutes. He'll have to reset the game. I'm a stinker. I'll see you guys very soon. And remember, we all do better when we all do better. Love you. Bye-bye.